I think there are other things that we should bring into that. There's something I think called I can't remember what it's called. There's a Zootech or something, bibliographic manager. What excites me is that, as Nelson pointed out at the beginning, BibTech is a bit long in the tooth, let's say. And it's also something that sort of, like the computer modern fonts, it has the sort of smell of tech around it. And maybe we should join somebody else's party.
Pardon?
Maybe we should join somebody else's party, or at least offer something to somebody else's party, not stand aloof. Let's not stand aloof from the other people who are doing references. And part of that actually is in law. In law, there's a very long tradition and history of references, and they are quite particular about it. And in Britain, we have Scottish courts and Scottish law and British courts, and they have different legal systems and stuff.
Even within the LaTeX world, though, you know, there's something, I've never used it, but there's something called BibLaTeX, which is apparently something vaguely similar to BibTeX, but completely different internally. And you've got PDF tech, you've got Lua tech, LaTeX, and so on. And one doesn't want too much divergence, of course.
Well, roughly speaking, we want to be using the same system as everybody else if we can. We use Unicode because everybody uses Unicode. Don Knuth internally standard on ASCII because we wanted to have some sort of standard inside. Don Knuth created standards when he needed to. I would like to see an I would like us to be. I would like tech users to have a free choices to their bibliographic management system. I'd like a bibliographic management system to just work. You don't have to know what system it just works for everybody. So this is what Kelly was saying, give it a DOI and you ought to be able to get exactly what you want, because the DOI, what we want is a bibliographic management system that relies on keys. So you have a collection of keys, which could be secure hashes, secure hash of the title, or it could be a secure hash of the PDF document. You know, if the PDF document is the real document, then it has a secure hash, and that can be the key for the document. And from that, you should always get the same result for any given bibliographic journal style. So it's got nothing to, you know, we're sort of removing the author out of the loop, if you like. There's bibliographic people,
yeah,
bibliographics, and that they determine what happens. And one hopes that they'll do something sensible, but the author simply...
But I think the present setup of LaTeX and BibTeX will probably still be needed for a long time. You know, I mean, just the fact that I'm still using my 1997 distribution with no problems today writing for journals shows that they're moving very slowly, if at all.
Oh, absolutely. But when you use BibTeX, you have a BibTeX file and use a key to say this is, and what if we have a large system, if we have a sort of a bibliographic key repository, if we simply had a repository saying here are all the keys, and somehow for each key you have something that tells you exactly what some way of knowing exactly what it is you're referring to. So it could be a DOI, it could be a whatever. Then that would at least allow us to refer to things by key. And when you use Git, all the things that you're referring to have a unique key, which is the secure hash. And then when you have a whole file system stored in Git, you have one secure hash, which is the whole file system. And then everything else is a name, which is a path. So you have a series of secure keys. You have a series of keys, whatever they are, and we don't particularly care. And then every person for their reference management says, this is my name for this key. And it might be BB 1985, which is a paper which really set me on my present research. Right? Somebody else might say FAC is the shorthand for Sayre's paper on coherent algebraic sheaves. There are papers that have that sort of shorthand. So you have your own dialect, if you like, that translates names you understand secure keys to the keys. And then somebody else, such as a journal publisher, says, well, I don't care about your names. All I care about is the keys. These are the keys I support, and this is how they are published. And that's their responsibility. And they will outsource it because that's the most efficient thing to do for them to do. So there'll be a sort of trade of people that sort of so there's some sort of specialists that do that sort of thing, and we just choose convenient names for our stuff, and everything else works. That's what I'd like to have happen. And the fact that so much information about styles and so forth is stored in BibTeX means that somehow we want to sort of continue using BibTeX or port BibTeX. And if we have our own personal style files, we want to be able to port them over. But every 10 years, the amount of information in the world doubles or something. So we might as well build something, have a certain amount of respect for the legacy problem, but also know that the problem of future information is just as important.